Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White were having a heated discussion at halftime. Word in the street is Caitlin Clark told White to sit Kelsey Mitchell and Howard because they don't pass. Could be true. Caitlin went to tie her shoe. Like, that is something that I noticed. Like, Caitlin literally, when Natasha Howard had the ball, she didn't even look. She was basically walking back on defense. She essentially walked back on defense every time Natasha Howard.
Caitlin Clark didn't just drop buckets. She dropped fire in the locker room first. Before torching the Dream, she reportedly had a heated argument with coach Stephanie White that left the walls sweating. Was it strategy, sass, or straight up chaos? Either way, what happened next was a takeover so savage, even Atlanta blinked twice. Buckle up, because this spicy drama turned into a highlight reel nobody saw coming. Let's get into the madness.
Hey, there's no surprise that the Indiana Fever looked best tonight when the offense was ran through Caitlin Clark. There's no surprise that the offense looked best tonight when we pushed the ball off of a make, pushed the ball off of a miss. There's no surprise that the Indiana Fever looked best tonight when Caitlin Clark was surrounded by players that don't have an ego, surrounded by players that said, I'm going to be MVP of the WNBA this year. You see how easy it is when you just let Caitlin play ball and others follow suit?
So there, Caitlin was, mid-game, energy pulsing, crowd roaring, and instead of cutting or calling for the ball back, she just casually bent down in front of the Fever bench to tie her shoes. Slow, deliberate, like she was lacing up for a fashion runway and not a live WNBA game. Why? Because she already knew the ball wasn't coming back. Not from Howard, not in that lifetime.
If you guys didn't see Natasha Howard looked off Caitlin Clark to end the third quarter. She looked off Caitlin Clark to end the third quarter in what was just incredibly dumb play. And again, if you didn't see here, Natasha Howard looks off Caitlin Clark to run to nowhere, takes 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 steps, does the cha-cha slide, and gets it to Caitlin Clark with 3 seconds to go, and she has to shoot a tough step back. Instead of letting Caitlin Clark push the pace and go and hit someone with an assist or something.
Caitlin could have filed a change of possession report with HR and still wouldn't have seen the ball again. It was the kind of passive-aggressive moment that screams volumes without making a sound. Because that shoe tying wasn't about laces, it was a resignation letter with knots. A comedic pause in the middle of a game that somehow said, do whatever you want, I'll be over here protecting my ankles since y'all clearly don't protect possessions.
Gutty performance from Caitlin Clark in what was an encouraging win for the Fever over the Dream. You know, the loss to the Golden State Valkyries would have you thinking the Fever need to be relegated and kicked out of the WNBA. But that's why you don't crash out too hard after one bad game. It's been an inconsistent ride for Indiana and for Clark as well, who's had to fight through a lot of injuries. But I think the encouraging thing from Cece was the fight that she showed on the floor. Clearly, she's not quite at 100%, still working her way back, hasn't found her 3-ball yet. But what she did...
And here's where the layers start peeling off like week-old stickers on a locker door. Howard doesn't just ignore Caitlin on offense. Oh no, she makes it a full-on side quest. Every possession feels like a dramatic reenactment of Me, Myself, and I, the musical, starring Nalissa Howard and featuring absolutely no supporting cast. Forget ball movement, forget team chemistry. This is a one-woman talent show, and Caitlin's just the stage prop.
Half where we had Caitlin off ball and sitting a lot, sitting on the bench, rotting away in the first half, and the second half where, oh my God, she's in the game. Oh my God, they're giving her the ball. Oh my God, they're letting her dictate tempo. It's not rocket science, folks. It really is not. Oh, did I forget to mention the Indiana Fever beat the Atlanta Dream 99-82. The Atlanta Dream come into Indiana and walk out with an L as we celebrate with a W.
It's wild because Caitlin Clark didn't fly into the league on a broomstick of hype for no reason. She's not just a scorer, she's a playmaker, a walking highlight package, and someone who literally stretches defenses with just her existence. There's this low-key delusion that Howard's the real alpha in the room, that she's the true franchise engine, and Caitlin is just a noisy new model with bright headlights. Except the difference is, Caitlin Clark comes with horsepower, GPS, and a built-in highlight reel. Howard, she's still trying to parallel park with her eyes closed. And fans see it. Oh, they see it. Like it's playing on 4K loop. The moment Howard gets the ball, you can feel the offense dying in real time, like watching someone slam on the brakes during a fast break just to reread the playbook mid-air. And then Caitlin's off to the corner or tying her shoes or probably calculating advanced stats in her head to make the pain go away.
Okay, so let's start off with this, man. The game plan to stop the Dream from winning. And the main thing they were doing on defense, the Indiana Fever, was trying to collapse the defense on the bigs. Now, I get it. Brittany Griner, Bree Jones, they cooked us the first time we ever played them. And, you know, they are a really tough front court. But my thing is, if you have Jordan Canada shooting the way she was shooting from the three, just adjust, all right? Change the game plan, fam. You cannot continue to try to collapse on the big.
You know it's bad when the team's best passer decides the shoelaces are more interesting than the offense. It's a silent protest. Like, cool, you go ahead and isolate. I'll just be down here tightening my Air Jordans and reviewing the laws of physics while you launch another contested brick. Who knows? Because Howard operates like she's being auditioned by a fantasy league commissioner rather than her actual coach. This isn't a chemistry problem. It's a full-on science experiment gone rogue. Caitlin's trying to conduct a symphony, and Howard's out here playing air guitar on repeat? The irony? When Clark actually does get the ball back, on the rare occasion the sun aligns with Mercury in retrograde, it results in buckets. Easy, beautiful, smooth buckets. But instead of building on that, Howard seems determined to treat those moments like rare Pokemon sightings. Fun, but too dangerous to chase.
Against the defenders by putting her head down and going to the basket. That opened things up for her playmaking, which of course is another genius aspect of her game. Once that started clicking, the Fever ran away with things. Sophie Cunningham was everywhere. Clark had it going with Aaliyah Boston again. Kelsey Mitchell was cooking. And all of a sudden, you look up and the Fever are lighting up the scoreboard. But you saw Clark sort of gaining her rhythm as the game went along, sort of returning to her form as the game went along, finding that pep in her step as the game went along.
The result? Clark's got to create magic with limited touches, make plays in the .5 seconds the ball exists in her hands, and then do it all while pretending like she doesn't notice the glaring shade from her own teammate. And let's be honest, if Clark wanted to be ignored and underused, she could have just joined a corporate meeting and brought donuts. The delusion is so thick, you could cut it with a Gatorade bottle cap. And let's not forget, this isn't the first game it's happened. There's a whole playlist of moments where Clark gets iced out while Howard tries to do her best impression of a solo act gone off-screen. It's like watching a two-player video game where only one controller works and the other person just throws snacks at the screen.
Build more continuity on both ends of the floor. And I think you've seen it in spells. But again, now we reintegrate C, we reintegrate DD, and we've got to be able to
reintegrate C, reintegrate DD. No. You keep like Caitlin Clark and Dantas is not the same type of thing. Dantas is somebody that got to get in where she fit in. Yeah, she needs to be reintegrated and figure out, okay, this is what they doing. Caitlin Clark don't need to figure out, oh, this is what they doing. Y'all, this thing was supposed to be built upon Caitlin Clark's strengths. It's that simple. It's that simple. What's wild is you had the easiest get.
But Clark? Oh, she's not sweating it. She's bending down and tying those shoes like it's the NBA Finals, baby. That's not defeat. That's composure, wrapped in sarcasm. It's the WNBA version of sipping tea, because deep down, she knows. She knows this entire experiment will eventually implode on itself. And when it does, who's going to be there holding the stat sheet and the crowd's attention? Not the ball hog in the corner trying to play point forward with tunnel vision. That's the bless your heart in-game form. And Howard? She'll still be out here trying to prove she's the sun, while the whole basketball universe already knows who's generating gravity. Honestly, if Caitlin wanted to be petty, she could just start bringing a folding chair mid-game. Every time she passes the ball, she could set up shop, cross her legs, and crack open a magazine labeled How to Sabotage a Superstar in 10 Easy Steps, because that's the level of absurdity we're working with.
All right, y'all, so I'm getting concerned. I'm getting concerned about Caitlin Clark's future with the Indiana Fever because it's not just that they're losing these games, it's the manner in which they're losing. It's the low shot attempts from Caitlin Clark. It's the low usage from Caitlin Clark. It's the having her in the corner, coming off these screens, getting the ball on the wing, and then her losing the basketball, keep getting the ball in these unfavorable positions. She is at her best when she's pushing it up the floor, coming off the screen with Aaliyah Boston. You're not even doing that anymore. It seems like the Indiana Fever aren't prioritizing Caitlin Clark's growth as a player, but what they're prioritizing is the system of basketball that Stephanie White has ran throughout the entirety of her career.
And through it all, the fans don't miss a beat. Social media lights up every time Clark goes full Houdini without touching the ball. Every time she gets frozen out like it's a middle school lunch table feud, the memes write themselves, because when your generational player is being benched by her own teammate's ego, the comedy almost writes itself. Yet, Caitlin doesn't flinch. She just plays. She just takes over when the clock runs low and the game's on the line. She ties those shoes like she's tying loose ends on a bad subplot, because whether or not Howard ever figures it out, the truth remains. The show only starts when Caitlin Clark touches the ball. And if Howard wants to keep pretending this is her team, fine, let her. Just don't be surprised when the real takeover begins after the drama dies down and the laces are double knotted. Get Tash Howard off the floor, seriously. If the Indiana Fever are running a science experiment to see how many possessions a single player can derail while dribbling in place, then sure, keep her out there. But if this is, basketball, then someone needs to hit the waiver button like it's a fire alarm.
We're going to talk about that in the morning, bro. So much stuff happened behind the scenes between Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White. Then we got Sophie Cunningham speaking to the media tonight, but so much stuff happened.
She clogs every lane like a plumbing issue that just won't quit. The second Caitlin Clark checks in, Howard's game somehow evaporates into confusion and congestion. It's like she sees spacing and says, "Oh no, we can't have that," then proceeds to park herself right where Clark's passing lanes should be. She grabs a rebound and immediately believes it's her time to shine. Never mind that Clark is waving her hands like a traffic cop with a megaphone. Nope. Tash is heading up the court in slow motion, scanning the floor like she's LeBron reincarnated in a fever dream, only to barrel into a double team and toss up a floater that clangs so hard it triggers car alarms outside the arena.
This gig in the business. You went and blew it. You went and just made the job 10 times harder than what it needed to be. I've never seen somebody fumble a incredible talent like this. Generational, once in a lifetime player like this. I've never seen somebody fumble the bag this easy. This was an easy bag. Stephanie White, this was an easy bag, bro. All you had to do was focus on the defense and let Caitlin handle the offense. But you're fixated on this trash offense you brought from Connecticut that nobody wants to run.
And don't even start on her shot selection. It's like a roulette wheel with all the numbers replaced by bad decisions. Meanwhile, Clark is just trying to play chess while Howard's still arguing with the checkers board. The energy mismatch is so intense it could power a small city. Now here's where things get spicy. When Caitlin's off the floor, Howard suddenly finds her groove. Or at least, she believes she does. More touches, more awkward mid-range shots, more self-importance. It's like she finally gets to live out the fantasy where she's the offensive anchor. Except instead of anchoring the team, she's dragging the whole thing to the bottom of the standings. She's the co-captain of this anti-chemistry squad. She might not clog lanes like Howard, but her inconsistency is a full-blown epidemic. One night she's decent, the next night she's auditioning for the role of invisible forward 3. It's hard to tell if she's playing basketball or just out there doing cardio with a jersey on. Remove both? Suddenly you've got a team. A real team, one that moves with purpose, finds open shooters, and actually executes plays instead of reenacting solo montages.
Struggling with her shot, but in the second half, it looks like Stephanie White let her go. Stephanie White was like, all right, we need to get this W. Go ahead, get us this W, Caitlin. And listen, Caitlin, she's got a horrible whistle. Sophie Cunningham has a better whistle than Caitlin. The only person on the team with a worse whistle than Caitlin is probably Aaliyah Boston. But even with that bad whistle, she keeps fighting. She keeps going. I mean, she's getting held and hacked, and she's getting defended. unlike anybody else on the court, even when it's good defense. It's just in her jersey.
Caitlin becomes the general she's built to be, dissecting defenses, launching lasers, controlling tempo, and the rest of the squad doesn't have to tiptoe around teammates with main character syndrome. There's nothing more frustrating than watching Clark cook up a perfect possession, moving defenders like chess pieces, only for the ball to end up in Howard's hands and immediately die there. You can see opponents light up when she checks in. They're not worried, they're excited. It's like handing out coupons for free layups. Meanwhile, Caitlin's out here taking elbows, drawing charges, and running herself into the ground trying to make something happen. But there's only so much you can do when you're surrounded by a couple of human traffic cones. It's no wonder the moment Howard goes to the bench, the team looks competent. The ball starts zipping, movement comes back, and spacing, actual beautiful spacing, returns like it was hiding in the locker room, waiting for permission to come out. Suddenly, you've got shooters getting open, drives that don't end in disaster, and fans who don't want to walk out before halftime.
Op in the building, y'all. The locker room has been corrupted. It's clear as day. It's clear as day. The one single thing Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston asked this bum, this joke of a front office to do was protect the locker room. Do you think they did it? I'm just going to sit here and be quiet. You let me know if you think they did it. Of course they didn't do it, bro. Of course they didn't do it. The locker room is in shambles. It's a joke. We got to op in the locker room. And I don't even know if it's all the way her fault. I believe Stephanie White is a pure liar. I believe Stephanie White and Amber Cox and them lied to Dewana Bonner about.
The WNBA is not the place for ego-driven minutes. It's the place for smart basketball, cohesion, and letting generational talent do what they do. And right now, Tosh is the gatekeeper of chaos, the uninvited +1 to every offensive set. It's not personal, it's performance. And her performance screams waiver wire. Let her take those ISO dreams somewhere else, someplace where the stakes are lower and the delusions can breathe. Because this isn't about one player hogging the spotlight. It's about one player holding back a team with potential. The team's flow, efficiency, and wins all go up when Howard and Bree are minimized. That's not a coincidence. That's a blueprint. Clear the floor, free the offense, and let the best player run the show without having to dodge her own squad's self-sabotage missions. Because here's the kicker. With the right pieces, Caitlin Clark turns this entire franchise around. Not in 5 years, not after a rebuild, now. But that only happens if the court isn't clogged with players mistaking bad habits for leadership. If Indiana wants to stop spinning its wheels and start winning games, the fix isn't complicated. It's just sitting on the bench. Or better yet, on a flight out of town